Howdy, Saints fans. What is going on? Welcome into our first ever weekly Monday live show. We are going to start going live twice a week. I know, even Lopez was like, hold on, when did you guys start doing that? Jerry G is in the chat talking all about it. I'm so used to it being on Wednesdays. Well, guess what? Because y'all have been so great and supported the show so much over the past few years, we have earned the ability to go live on Mondays and on Thursdays. So starting now, we're going to be live Mondays, Thursdays, and on game days. That's 3 live shows a week, nonstop content, and tons of coverage coming your way. That's why you subscribe to Saints Now by Chat Sports, and welcome into the show. I got my guy, Loco Lopez, on the 1s and 2s. We are live, so give me a who dat in the comment section. I see Jartavius. I see my guy, Jerry G, the legend, having a whole conversation in the chat. J-Pack, what's going on, brother? Jartavius, good to see you too, my friend. Glad to see everyone's rocking and rolling with us. Mikey Taylor, good to see you as well. I'm wondering if we didn't get a push notification because, shorts and like the video this morning. I wonder if I made one this morning about the Julian Blackmon injury, and it was like right around 59 seconds. So I'm wondering but I'm like, who cares? Either way, got to show some love to Andre, got to show some love to Corey. St. Trace, congratulations, Cam Jordan hit the top 20 all-time sacks. Yeah, dude, shout out to Cam. Wham, bam, thank you, Cam, baby. Peace and purpose. What's going on? Jartavius, good to see you. Happy to have everyone rocking and rolling with us. 57 people watching, 11 likes, and everyone's rocking and rolling in the chat. Give me a who dat if you are excited for multiple live shows a week now. I see JPEG saying rookie safety or free agent safety. There's a few out there, one familiar. We're going to talk about some safety options. Obviously, Julian Blackmon has suffered a potentially season-ending injury. It's a labrum injury. We're going to give you full information, full updates around that here momentarily. Just letting the audience build up. We are in the build-up portion of today's show. So I want to show some love to Eric Sims as well. Got a couple more questions. One to get your way. How are you feeling one day after the loss? I'm going to keep it real with you. Now that I have had some time to sulk in it, Lopez, I'm feeling a lot less stressed than I was during and right after the game. I'm honestly like, you know what? I had a good time watching it. Couldn't say that most times last year. We'll take it.
I think I'm in kind of that same boat. I was a little frustrated after the game. I was like, there was a couple things that could have been handled differently. Mm-hmm. But getting home, I was like, it wasn't a bad game.
Yeah.
It was a fun game.
Yeah, well, and it's also, you consider the facts. It's a new team, young offense, new coaches on both sides. Lots of things were changing, whole new vibe, whole new regime. So there's going to be growing pains regardless. And for what it's worth, I think the Cardinals might actually turn out to be one of those teams that are like, it's actually probably not that bad of a loss when we get towards the end of the season because it might be a really good team this year, to be totally honest. I think their defense was really good. Will Johnson, stud. Their offense, I thought their running attack was really, really good. Obviously, the Saints' run defense isn't amazing, but I will say shout out to Trey Sermon, shout out to James Conner. They were great. Trey McBride looked awesome. Marvin Harrison looked awesome. So, I think that's one of those, I can walk out of it not feeling more or less confident, but being like, you know what, I had a good time watching. There's going to be growing pains either way. Okay. I wasn't miserable. I'll take it. I'm happy. What's going on, Isaiah? Good to see you, brother. Chin, good to see you. Jartavius, good to see you too, my friend. Glad to have everyone rocking and rolling with us. Mikey says, feeling all right, but we could have done a lot better, but we could have been worse. Totally agree with you. Chin saying, yeah, the Cardinals looked good. Jartavius, we got a chance to beat the Niners on Sunday. I totally agree. I actually think the Niners are a beatable team. Their kicking situation, Jake Moody, is dog shit, to be totally honest, so don't think that we're going to be really worried in that department. Let me put it this way. Key to victory number 1, make them kick field goals. J-Pack, we haven't even started our preview, but that's going to be key to victory number 1. J-Pack, sick about injuries, but overall not a bad game, especially for Spencer Rattler. Totally agree. Jerry G, I was tied up yesterday with church, so my focus was on that, but I did see the game. Jerry, glad to see that you got to tune in. Glad to see that you got to spend some time doing what you like to do, my friend. Corey, I was hurt, but I got over it knowing I see promise. They're going to be okay. I said it in a short video that I put out on the channel earlier. I think that team is very reminiscent of the Patriots last year and even the Lions with Dan Campbell's first year. I think that this is one of those teams where it's like you're not going to win a lot of games, but it's going to be scrappy. It's going to show some fight, going to show that they're building the foundation. And then after that, you start seeing the wins and the success start coming in. So I think that's where we're headed right now with the New Orleans Saints. Isaiah, we're going to grow and get better. Still going to be a good season. Totally agree with you too, my friend. If you got a question or a hot take, we are going to be doing a mailbag at the end of today's live show. Use hashtag Saints. Or if you want to skip the line, you want us to spend a little extra time, go a little bit more in depth on your question, your comment, or your hot take, be sure to use the super chat function. You can also send in a Cash App or a Venmo if you would like. But if you do send in a super chat, the incentive to do that and the reason to do that is we get to spend a little bit extra time, hang out with you, and we'll celebrate if you do end up sending in a donation. But of course, you don't always have to. That's what game days are for. Get to have a lot of fun on those game days. If you want to get on the show for free, see thousands of people watch our video, see what they had to say about your thoughts, use hashtag Saints, and get your questions, comments, and hot takes in for us. Me and Lopez are going to be answering questions later on in the show. We got 82 people watching, 22 likes. When we get to 35 likes, we will get to the Julian Blackmon injury news. If you're ready to talk some Saints football, hit the thumbs up icon. Throw me a like. We're going to go ahead and start chopping it up because it is important to discuss what's going on with Julian Blackmon. I do think that this is an injury that is a little bit concerning. That being said, or not a little bit, it's very concerning. That being said, it's also it's football. Got to find ways to move forward. Got to find ways to keep things moving. So, at the end of the day, this is part of it. Injuries happen in physical sports such as football. Chubbies, correct? For sponsor one? Chubb. We're going full Chubb. All righty, Who Dat Nation. Isaiah saying we can go 8 to 9. I can get that. Javan, I think we're going to be fine. We aren't the worst team in the league despite how much. Yeah, no, we definitely are not the worst team in the league.
Might not even be top 5 worst team.
I think we're not. We're top or bottom 5 is definitely a conversation. We're not bottom 1. We are not bottom 1.
I think
the Dolphins exist. The Colts exist, which ironically kick the shit out of the Dolphins.
Browns.
The Browns exist. The Giants exist.
Panthers.
The Panthers exist. Titans definitely exist.
We're at 6.
That's 6. That's 6 teams that you could argue are worse than the Saints. So, there you go. All righty. We're going to have a conversation. We're going to talk about Javan. Was it? I don't remember which one I said at first. I don't remember. Javan, I think, is what I said. Javan. If it's Javan, just type Jayv in so I can know it, just because I can't remember which one I said first. Mikey! Good to see you, brother. Trace and Lopez, do you think we need to trade for an actual tight end? Jawan Johnson pissed me off yesterday with that drop. We are going to talk about the drop. We are going to talk about Jawan Johnson. Mikey, I will say right now we don't need to look at trading for a tight end right this moment. I don't necessarily think it would be a bad idea. The New Orleans Saints did rework Taysom Hill's contract, freeing up $3.6 million in cap space, so maybe a move's on the way. Maybe a tight end could be in the works, but I think the Saints are confident in Jawan Johnson being their tight end right now. Spencer Rattler saying he would go to him 100 out of 100 times on that play. So I understand why you're frustrated. I'm going to keep it real with you, though. Go back and watch it again. Watch it in slow motion. Watch multiple angles of it. You will see it's not necessarily an egregious drop by Jawan Johnson, but it is a great pass breakup by the Cardinals defense. They made a hell of a play. Lopez, great shit, man. They made a hell of a play right here. You got Budda Baker and last name's Thompson. Can't remember first name. You have Budda Baker right here creating problems. I literally actually have it. Yeah, Jalen Thompson. Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker right here creating problems. Incredible effort. Very, very well-timed pass breakup. It happens. It happens. Like Budda Baker is one of the best safeties in the league. Of course, I wish Jawan Johnson would have had it. It was literally in his hands. Should have had it. You're paid to make those catches, but those guys are paid to break up those passes. So it's, it's kind of twofold. Like, I don't think that it's, of course, it's unfortunate, it's upsetting, but, like, I don't think it's 100% on Jawan Johnson. I think it was a great throw. It was a great effort. They just made had they not made that play, that's a catch. They made the play. They were in the right place, right time.
And Spencer Rattler, hell of a throw.
That was a perfect throw.
It was the perfect throw.
It was exactly how that throw should have gone. So, I do think that Jawan Johnson is the guy that they agree. So, Shout out to you guys. Let's get into some Julian Blackmon injury news because I do want to get y'all informed. 78 people rocking and rolling with us. We're at 29 likes. Let's get one more and then we can party. Give me one more like and we can get to the injury news on Julian Blackmon. We're also going to talk about some replacements because obviously the New Orleans Saints are going to need to figure out what their plan is moving forward for life after Julian Blackmon, which is crazy to say. We're going to talk about some replacements. We're going to talk about what happens, the injury updates, and everything here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. Lopez, let me get a quick sip of agua. Perfect. It's yes, good call, good call. All right, and then for the just any L3 sub, we can even come back to this one if you want to. We can come straight back to this. I don't really care. All right, let's party. Yep. Wait, hold on. Let me move my mic. Haha, not ready. Now we're ready. The injury news just does not stop for the New Orleans Saints. So for today's video, we're going to dive into the latest around Julian Blackmon. We're going to tell you what the injury is, what to expect after this injury is, made official. And hold on, let me restart. I hate how I started that. Now you guys can see how the sausage is made. Isn't this fun? Isn't this great? All right, resetting. Sorry, y'all. What's going on, Saints fans? We are diving into the latest injury news. This time, it's around safety Julian Blackmon. The injury updates do not stop piling in for the black and gold, and unfortunately, the injury bug is addicted to New Orleans. We're going to talk about some replacements, talk about what to expect on the roster, off the roster, what could happen. But I want to let you guys know we are so dang close to hitting 50,000 subscribers, less than 250 away. And if we cross this on this video, I'm telling you, it would be absolutely electric. So let's get to 50,000 subscribers together right here, right now. Subscribe for more Saints news, updates, and information around your favorite football team. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. You're watching Saints Now by Chat Sports. Let's waste no more time and just get straight on into it. Julian Blackmon, he suffered a torn labrum against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 1. Reports coming in from Ian Rapoport, Nick Underhill, and everyone else who covers the black and gold. It could be a season-ending injury at the time of filming this video. It has not officially been labeled a season-ending injury. Kellen Moore even saying that it's going to be a significant time that he will be missing. But I got to give the guy a lot of credit. He played all of the snaps on defense in Week 1. So despite suffering this injury, he still was able to play. Now, Kellen Moore also did say that he was, the injury didn't really pop up until after the game. He didn't really notice it. So that's kind of interesting. But we'll have to see if he does have to have that season-ending injury. Season-ending surgery. Goodness gracious, I can't speak today. Reminder, he did sign after the Tyrann Mathieu retirement right before training camp, so he's only been around for very short term in New Orleans. Going to give you a little bit more information from Ian Rapoport. Last year, Julian Blackmon had a torn labrum, in case you guys didn't know. So this is an injury on the same labrum, but it's in a different part. So it may require surgery quicker. It is expected that he does get that surgery fairly soon. So, all in all, I will say this is a major blow to the New Orleans Saints defense. He was brought in to be a big part and a big-time contributor next to Justin Reid. And Justin Reid even going to Twitter and saying, man, it feels like I lost my best friend. So, that sucks. I was actually also looking very much so forward to watching Julian Blackmon because I thought that he was a really good safety. It just, I hate that he has to deal with this injury once again. And obviously he's on a 1-year contract. Not necessarily sure the New Orleans Saints would bring him back, especially considering it's 2 years in a row that he suffered a labrum injury. But at the end of the day, business is business. Maybe one day he could return. It stinks. I was really excited about this potential safety group. I mean, Julian Blackmon will be out for the foreseeable future. Jonas Sanker, Jordan Howden, you are up next. You also have Terrell Burgess and Elliot Davison on the practice squad. So I do expect some of those guys to be elevated as game day standard elevations just to fill in for the void and add some more depth behind Justin Reid, Jonas Sanker, and Jordan Howden. And I'll say this. I think with Julian Blackmon missing time, the silver lining in this is that you do get an opportunity opportunity to see Jonas Sanker perform much, much sooner than we all anticipated. And I do believe he was really, really effective and really impressive in the preseason. And I think that right now he has a massive opportunity to show why the New Orleans Saints selected him in the 3rd round. 15 tackles, a very clutch interception, a couple pass breakups in the preseason. I'm really excited about the possibility of Jonas Sanker taking over for the New Orleans Saints defense. Fortunately, he does have Justin Reid to help kind of guide him, help teach him, and help kind of be a mentor, if you will, and help him kind of get ready for game day, because I expect Jonas Sanker or maybe even Jordan Howden to get the start. I'm not necessarily sure which one of these two will be the starter. We'll take a look at that in our preview, which will go out later this week. But I think Jordan Howden also has a chance to potentially show that he is a guy that the Saints can rely on. I think that he's had some highs. I think he's had some lows. But overall, I have been fairly impressed with Jordan Howden throughout the early portion of his career. And I will say that those are the guys that are on the roster internally. Those are the internal options, but you also have to explore the possibility of external options. So coming up, we're going to take a look at some free agent targets. I got 10 names that we're going to tell you, so that way you guys can have an idea of some possibilities that the New Orleans Saints could possibly bring in to replace Julian Blackmon and play alongside Justin Reid. Now, I will say this, there's going to be one familiar name. If you guys have been real ones and subscribed to the channel for a while, it'll be crazy that we're talking about him again. But first, got to give a big-time shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Chubbies Shorts. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the most wonderful time of the year. It is fall. That means the fall weather is back. It's cool outside. The leaves are going to start turning soon. Football is on, and your lady friend just threw some banana bread in the oven. But just because the weather is changing doesn't change the fact that you may have to pack away the fun. Chubbies is here to make sure that your fall wardrobe hits harder than a pumpkin spice latte on a slow Sunday morning with a soft, stretchy, fall-ready staples built for maximum comfort and minimal effort. The Chubbies Fall Collection drops on September 9th, so be on the lookout, and it's packed with cozy gear that brings the heat literally and metaphorically. And later this month, they're launching the new Comfort Collection featuring the Everywhere Jogger. It's the perfect pant for impromptu naps, weekend errands, and everything in between. We all agree fall should be cozy, not constricting, and Chubbies delivers peak softness without sacrificing an ounce of style. So go ahead, break up with stiff pants and embrace the fun side of fall. Whether you're layering up for tailgates, lounging through lazy Sundays, or just leaning fully into fall comfort, Chubbies has you covered. For limited time, Chubbies is giving our listeners at Saints Now by Chat Sports $10 off your order with the code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com. That's code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com. Support the show and show your thighs some respect with Chubbies. All of that information is in the comments and description of this video. Click the link, get swagged out, and get yourself some new fall gear. Now, I want to start off this conversation by addressing something very, very obvious. This list is not a beautiful list. There's one name that does come to mind that is not on this list. That's Jabril Peppers. He recently tweeted out a prayer emoji, crazy how life works. So I kind of take that as he may have signed or somewhere, or maybe he is signing soon. Not necessarily sure what that means, but Jabril Peppers is available right now. Former first-round pick. I'm not going to say it's the best option. I'm not going to say it's the worst option, but it is an option. Let's take a look at a few others. A name that you guys have seen on this channel before, a name that if you have been subscribed to Saints Now is a familiar face, Justin Simmons, a guy I've never, ever, ever vouched that the New Orleans Saints should sign. That's a joke. Real ones know. Justin Simmons, he was a safety that signed with the Atlanta Falcons last year. He was cut by the Denver Broncos, kind of a surprising cut, and took a while for him to sign. Made a couple of visits, explored the New Orleans Saints as an option. We thought that we were going to sign this player, and then he ends up going to the NFC South rival, Atlanta Falcons, and ended up having an okay season, not anything amazing, but it wasn't horrible. PFF graded him out at just under 60 overall. Run defense was okay, 60.8 coverage. He did have 16 missed tackles, 12.6 yards per catch allowed. So Justin Simmons is an option that could potentially be available for a little bit longer. As injuries settle into other rosters, I expect him to be a name that gets some calls fairly soon. So if the New Orleans Saints do want to go get Simmons, in my opinion, you're probably going to want to act quick because he's one of the better names available, one of the best options out there in free agency. Marcus Williams could be another option, only 29 years old, one of the younger guys that we will discuss, which is crazy to say at 29 years old. He's one of the younger dudes available in free agency. Spent some time with the Baltimore Ravens most recently. PFF graded him at under a 43 overall. Not ideal. 69.4 run defense grade. This coverage grade, 37.3. That is horrendous. Passer rating allowed. Lopez, what is a perfect passer rating?
158.3.
That is exactly what the passer rating allowed was when targeting Marcus Williams. 17.6 yards per catch allowed as well. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Saints should absolutely avoid him, but I would probably not touch Marcus Williams with a 10-foot pole. That's just me, to be totally honest. Another name that's familiar to NFC South teams and NFC South fans, Jordan Whitehead, formerly of the Tampa Bay Succaneers, as we like to call them, but the Buccaneers, in case you didn't know. 28 years old. Last year, PFF overall grade of 58 flat. Pretty solid against the run, 70.3 run defense, 53.5 coverage grade. 79 tackles last year, no interceptions logged. Did allow 15 yards per catch, had 10 missed tackles, 130.9 passer rating. So when targeted. So for Jordan Whitehead, it might be an interesting option. He's played in the NFC South, so he is familiar with the other opponents in the division. And with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who you're going to play twice this year, and you play twice every year. So those are three options that are, in my opinion, your best three options. But if you don't love what you saw already, maybe you go towards this list. Obviously, Simmons, Williams, and Whitehead are the three that we highlighted already, but George Odom, Jordan Poyer, Saints legend Marcus May is also available. So is Von Bell, maybe a reunion there. Tashawn Gibson, Rodney McLeod, and Jawan Johnson are also available. I don't think that the New Orleans Saints absolutely have to go and sign another safety. To be totally honest, if it's up to me and I'm Kellen Moore and I'm Brandon Staley, I say let the young guys cook. I say make the practice squad guys at standard elevations. Let's see what Jonas Sanker, let's see what Jordan Howden can do, because that's at the end of the day, that's what this roster needs to focus on, is developing the youth. And now you have an opportunity to do that. Sorry, I can't speak today. This is one of those days. It just can't make it up, man. Anyway, I do believe the best option for the New Orleans Saints is starting Jonas Sanker or Jordan Howden next to Justin Reed. Keep the familiar faces on the field. Keep the guys who have been in the building on the field, because there's already chemistry. There's already cohesion there. And I think that is ultimately the best option for the New Orleans Saints as of right now. But I want you to share your thoughts. Jonas Sanker? Type JS if you think the Saints should just go and start him. But if you think they should sign a free agent, go ahead and shout one out in the comment section. Talked about 11 different names, including Jabril Peppers and the 10 guys we showed you on your screen. So you got a pretty good list to potentially reference. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's video. Wanted to let you know we filmed this as a part of our weekly live show. We used to go live only on Wednesdays, but now we're going live every single Monday and Thursday. So be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications. That way you never miss any updates around the black and gold. That way you never miss any news from Saints Now by Chat Sports. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. That's my guy Loco Lopez. Y'all stay golden, and we'll see you next time. Holy shit. That was bad. There was multiple times I almost lost it, but after I started stuttering again at the beginning, I was like, might need to run it back, but we're chilling. It'd be like that. Wendell Thompson, good to see you. Jonas Sanker is a beast from Rooster. Queen Courtney wants Justin Simmons or Jabril Peppers. What's going on, Eric? Good to see you, bro. Good to see you guys. Christian, at least our QB didn't say his performance from yesterday was from diarrhea. I would agree. At least he didn't say his performance was from diarrhea.
By the way, love the Chubbies ad read.
Thank you. Thank you. Isn't that fun?
This is a great ad read.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
All the little fall shit they threw in there.
Yeah.
Shout out
Very
Chubbies.
festive. Very festive. The beginning part, I customized it myself. But
Oh, nice. You threw in
the banana bread, that was
you?
me. That was me. That was all me. I'll take credit for that one. You want to know why? It's because I was inspired because Maddie yesterday said that she was or I was looking in the freezer to make some dinner after we got home, and I saw like a bunch of bananas. I was like, why are there a bunch of bananas in the freezer? Like, what's that about? Like, I don't think they need to go in the freezer. She's like, oh, well, I'm making banana bread. I was like, that's actually some of the best news I've ever heard in my life. So
And they were like the really brown bananas, like they're done. Yeah.
And guess what I'm not doing? Bringing it into work because
You're
that
selfish.
will get eaten
That's
very
selfish.
quick. I'll bring you some. I'm not going to
Fuck
bring some for the
yes.
whole crew.
Yeah, fuck the rest of the crew. I don't care.
I'll tell Maddie to make you your own little loaf. See if she can. See if she can do
Getting
it.
banana bread.
Yeah, you might get some banana bread. Who knows?
Hell yeah.
$25 Dome Foam is extra delicious. Is that one of the new drinks this season at the Dome? I wouldn't know. I'm not allowed to go this year. I got banned by my bosses. Just kidding. I want to. This Taysom Hill salary cap stuff is interesting. Makes me wonder what's happening here. Makes me wonder. They were down to. They had about $9 million in cap space right now. Now they're comfortably at about $12.3 million. So they got money to spend. Got money to spend. Yeah. I see what you're saying now, Christian. I get what you're saying. All righty. We're going to get into the second segment now. Kind of just rapid fire in these bad boys. Reminder, use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat if you want to get on the show and be featured in front of thousands of Saints fans.
Let me actually see how many questions we have right now.
Going to be doing a mailbag here in just a few minutes. After we do, we have an honest discussion about the problems that the New Orleans Saints are facing once again. They got to stop doing this.
We have a whopping 0 questions.
We have 0 questions for our mailbag. So unless you guys use hashtag Saints and ask some questions, we can't have a mailbag. How are we supposed to answer questions if there's no questions to answer? So use hashtag Saints. Give us a free agent target, a trade idea, somebody you'd like to trade for, somebody you'd like to trade away. Questions about the game this week, questions about the game next week. Anything. Ask us anything. Hashtag AMA. Ask me anything. Just kidding. Use hashtag Saints. I fear that might tell people use hashtag AMA. Don't do that. Use hashtag Saints.
Let me change
Jerry
that.
G, first question of the day. Good question there. We'll answer that in the mailbag. If you guys would also like to be featured, use hashtag Saints. Because we want y'all to be a part of the show as well. Queen Courtney knows what's up. Thank you. Thank you.
That's a good question.
That's a great question. I think the answer is yes. As much as I wanted to not believe that to be true, the longer I live and the longer I root on the New Orleans Saints, the longer that proves that it is true.
It's hard to not believe it.
Yeah, it's really hard to not believe it. Can we trade for Josh Allen? We'll give them Spencer Rattler and... All right, Spencer Rattler, Rajon Wright, and a 5th-round pick. Who says no? For Josh Allen.
What if we also call
Who says
up,
no?
Hear me out. What if
Not
we
me.
also called the 49ers Blake Groupie for George Kittle?
Well, George Kittle's hurt. We don't want George Kittle right now.
Yeah, but we can find another kicker.
But we don't want George Kittle.
But when he
right now.
comes back.
We don't want George Kittle.
But when
right
he
now.
comes back.
But we don't need him. We need him now. I would say, what if we said, all right, Cardinals, since we gave you a win, how about you send us Trey McBride or Raiders, since we took Derek Carr from you?
3-team trade.
Yeah, 3-team trade. Raiders get Trey McBride. We get Brock Bowers. No, I want Trey McBride. Actually, I don't know which one I want.
I'd probably rather Brock Bowers.
I'd probably rather have Brock Bowers, but Trey McBride also is a true tight end. Brock Bowers, just dog at receiving. You know what? 3-team trade. I want both of them. I want both. I want both of them. I can't pick one, so I want both of them.
So we'll trade Blake Groupie for one.
Yes. And then we'll trade Devin Neal and a 5th for the other.
I like Devin Neal.
Okay.
Jake, can we re-sign Jake Haener?
Yes. Oh my God. Give them back. They can. Okay. Bring back Jake Haener. Trade Jake Haener, and then they can have a good quarterback from Fresno State once again.
And then we'll just re-sign Hunter Deckers.
Who says no? And we can bring back, and that brings back Hunter Deckers. Who says no? To be totally honest, why are we not running this franchise?
Mickey Loomis, get off your ass.
Exactly. Mickey, hire us. Hashtag hire Trizzy and Lopez. Beezier, are you saying let Howden and Sinker play and sign a corner? Because the comment says literally, Saints, let Howden and Sinker play, sign a corner. No, Jerry, the whole point of bringing Jake Haener back is just to trade him. That's why we would do it.
It's trade bait.
Yes, it's trade bait. Because we know that the Raiders are addicted to Fresno State quarterbacks. Couple people joining in late here. Lopez, can we quickly just go through the player card and the social graphic for Julian Blackmon? We will let you guys know what happened with Julian Blackmon. Once again, in case you guys missed it, the reports around him are that he could be now out for the entire season, suffering a torn labrum in week 1 against the Arizona Cardinals. It's the same labrum that he tore last year at the end of the season. And it does suck because he was the player that the New Orleans Saints signed in order to fill in the void of Tyrann Mathieu retiring. So that blows. BZ saying sign Rico Payton back. I mean, you could, but Rico Payton's a cornerback and Julian Blackmon is a safety. So, yeah, he's on the Giants practice squad. You can sign him off the practice squad, but you don't need a corner. You need another safety, so it wouldn't really matter either way. But Ian Rapoport adding that it is the same labrum, but in a different spot, could require injury or could require surgery very soon. Still doing tests, but it looks like it's a season-ending injury for Julian Blackmon. It's a big hit. Justin Reed's upset about it. A lot of Saints fans are upset about it. I'm upset about it, and you have every right to be sad about it too. But that's kind of the main stuff around Julian Blackmon. Torn labrum, likely out for the season. In terms of options now, it's Jonas Sanker, Jordan Howden, or you can go and sign players like Justin Simmons, Marcus Williams, Jordan Whitehead, or Jabril Peppers. Those are kind of the options at this point. So there you have it. That's the injury updates and the information you need to know. Sanker is the man now. I would say it's probably Jonas Sanker over Jordan Howden, but Kellen Moore has frequently opted to go with experience over potential. So I actually wouldn't be that surprised if Jordan Howden ended up starting. If you guys have any questions, I see a lot of questions rolling in. Use hashtag Saints so we can feature you on our mailbag portion of the show. Willie, feel free to use hashtag Saints. Seth, use hashtag Saints and ask that question. These are all great questions I'd love to have on the show. The reason I say use hashtag Saints or send in a super chat is because our software does not recognize that we are getting questions in the live chat. The only way that it will recognize that is if you use the hashtag or the super chat function. So if you want to ask questions for free, hashtag Saints. If you want to skip the line and go a little bit deeper into your question, use the super chat function. But let's dive on into the PrizePicks video. I didn't put the ad read in there. Haha. Yes. Right here. Under that quote. That's cool. That'll work. All righty. The New Orleans Saints have to stop this. Uno, 1 second. Cool. Let's do it. Classic Saints problems once again. That's the focus of today's video because we have to ask the question, how does this keep happening to the black and gold? My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Welcome into Saints Now by Chat Sports. We're going to have a conversation about what Kellen Moore needs to fix right now if the New Orleans Saints want to find success this season. Now, I posed this question to Twitter, and it got a lot of responses, and it got a lot of engagement. And most people said that they were kind of living in the 3 to 5 range. So I wanted to ask the YouTube comment section the same thing. On a scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed in you are you in the performance of the New Orleans Saints yesterday? Obviously, the date was yesterday. This was posted after game day. But I want you to let me know, how disappointed were you in the New Orleans Saints loss to the Arizona Cardinals? Again, most people saying they were around 3 to 5. I'm curious if YouTube feels the same way. Now, the New Orleans Saints have to make it stop. Kellen Moore, please fix all of these problems. The main one, it's a multi-year issue. Penalties. They get way too many penalties. They get penalties at the most inopportune times. They shoot themselves in the foot every chance they get. The New Orleans Saints are their own worst enemies. They beat themselves week in and week out. I am so frustrated and so tired of having the conversation around the New Orleans Saints having issues with penalties. In 2024, in case you didn't know, New Orleans was top 5 in penalty yards allowed. It's unbelievable. Over 1,000 penalty yards. That's ridiculous. How are you expected to win games if you are giving up 1,000 yards in penalties? It doesn't make sense. For what it's worth, we're going to show you a list, and it's very, very telling. The Ravens and the Lions, great rosters, great teams. Last season, they were in the top 5, but they had the rosters to battle through that adversity. The Jets, the Titans, and the Saints, none of them did. And that is why that they were all very high draft picks. That is why all 3 of these teams are kind of in the doghouse right now, and those are still prominent issues from, honestly, especially the New Orleans Saints, but a lot of these squads. The New Orleans Saints this year are tied for first. Number 1 in total penalties. Number 1. Do you understand how frustrating that is? They are number 1 in total penalties. 13 penalties for 89 yards in week 1. That is unacceptable. How are you expected to win football games when you are giving up the entire field length after a kickoff in penalties? You're not going to find success. Doesn't matter if it's offense, doesn't matter if it's defense. The New Orleans Saints are their own worst enemy. They cannot stop shooting themselves in the foot. They cannot stop creating holes that they have to dig themselves out of late in the game because they just don't have the roster and they don't have the talent in order to do that. We saw that in week 1. The Cardinals, I'll say, pretty good opponent. In week 1, the Arizona Cardinals capitalized on a bunch of mistakes that the New Orleans Saints made. The New Orleans Saints did not capitalize on the mistakes made by the Cardinals. They did not capitalize on the gifts given to them, whether it was penalties, whether it was calls going one way or the other. The New Orleans Saints are their own worst enemies. You can blame the refs. You can blame whoever. You can blame Jawan Johnson. You can blame anybody. But the issue was penalties. That is a coaching thing. That is a culture thing. That is a whatever. It is not a one player is to blame. It is an entire organization. The penalties are the problem. The New Orleans Saints are their own worst enemy. And if you agree that the Saints got to stop unloading the clip on their own foot, I want you to do one thing, and that's subscribe. To show that this team needs to stop shooting themselves in the foot. It's so ridiculous. Why? If you stop doing that, guess what? Your games become easier. Let's send a message. Hit the sub button if you agree with what I just said. Now, the pre-snap penalties is really where things were problematic. Remember, you had 13 total penalties. 9 of those were pre-snap penalties. 2 illegal formations, 1 illegal shift. 1 of those was declined, for what it's worth. And Kellen Moore today, he said that they're going to do a lot to address the pre-snap penalties this week during practice and emphasized that they will need to be cleaner there. I beg the question once again, how are you supposed to win games if you're getting penalties? Because when you have these pre-snap penalties, You're losing before the game even starts. You're losing before the play starts. You're losing before you even have the opportunity to put the ball in your playmaker's hands. How are you supposed to win football games when you operate like that? My answer is you don't. Kellen Moore, he did say some pretty good things about it. I will give him credit. The pre-snap penalties, that was simply not good enough. Doesn't meet the standard in any way. We have a bunch of penalties on both sides of the football in the pre-snap world, and that's all under our control. Could not agree more with him. Got a lot more to talk about. Because not just the penalties was a problem, but the management of the game was just disastrous. So I want to take an in-depth look at this game and where everything went off the rails here in just 1 second. But first, got to thank today's presenting sponsor, and that is the best daily fantasy app in the whole wide world, PrizePicks. This episode of Saints Now by Chat Sports is brought to you by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. I can show you some picks that I'm rolling with this week. I got a fun little lineup because there is a cool little promo. PrizePicks always has promos and specials going on, so be sure to check the app early and often throughout game week so you can know where to lay down your cheddar to maximize your winnings. I'm doing a little demon pick on Alvin Kamara. Going to have him find the end zone at least once. And then Travis Kelce just has to get more than half a receiving yard. It's pretty much free money for both of those two guys. So if you want to fade these picks, you want to tail these picks, I don't care what you do. Just do it over on PrizePicks. Here's how you play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get your picks right, you could cash in. PrizePicks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. All of that information is available in the comment section and description of this video. I made it clickable to make it easy for you, Saints fans. So check out PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. The offense, I wanted to focus in here because the offense is really where the penalties were a major, major problem. Sure, the defense had some inopportune times and some inopportune penalties, but I think the offense was the main issue. 8 penalties, 44 yards. How are you going to do that? You set up for failure every single time. That's 8 separate plays where you either were set up going into the next play for failure, or you had a play that could have been potentially very helpful get brought back because of something stupid. Now, we've got to give out some awards to the Week 1 leaders of penalties. Cesar Ruiz, MVP, most valuable penalties. 2 penalties, 15 yards. You also saw Dylan Radins get 2 for 9. Chris Olave was flagged 1 time for 5 yards. Asim Richards also was flagged for a penalty. Eric McCoy, for what it's worth, was flagged for an eligible downfield pass, an eligible man downfield. That was a declined penalty. And Talis Efuaga, he got flagged for holding, but that was also a declined penalty. So you could have had even more here. But, I mean, come on. Why? What are we doing? If you want to take a look at what exactly the penalties were, I have just that for you. The Saints had the most penalty problems with false starts and illegal shifts. Those are both pre-snap penalties. You got to stop doing those things to set yourself up for failure in the play. A grand total, 13 for 89 yards. You had a face mask. You had some offsides issues. You had some illegal formations. You had shifts. You had holdings. You had pass interference. You got to clean it up. Get your brooms out. It is an absolute mess in New Orleans. And if the Saints want to find success, Kellen Moore needs to fix it and fix it quick. If you're tired of the Saints getting penalties, you're tired of the Saints acting like this, or playing like this and acting like they can get away with it, like the video. We're sending a message. That's all we're doing with this video. We're sending a message because I want the message to get out. This is a very easy problem to fix. You address this and your life gets so much easier. And that is a message that I know a lot of you are feeling at home. So if you agree with me, you're tired of the Saints getting penalized for stupid football plays like this video. We mentioned bad clock management and bad game management was a factor in this loss as well. Kellen Moore, got to be a little bit critical here. I always am going to keep it real. I pride myself in that. He was bad at the end of the first half of that game. The New Orleans Saints need to find the confidence in order to be more aggressive going into the later portions of halves. In the second half, I thought that they were doing a good job of that. First half, not so much. Kellen Moore did say he wanted to stash those tight ends at the end of the first half, or tight ends. He wanted to stash the timeouts in the end of the first half in case New Orleans popped a big play when they got the ball back. He further explained today that not calling a timeout was to protect the Saints against leaving time for Arizona to score if they ended up going 3 and out. Reminder, the Saints got the ball back with about 30 seconds remaining. I think that they could have called some timeouts when they were on defense to give them a chance to go drive down the field. But you also only ran one play. You handed it off, and then you went into the locker room. You easily could have called timeout and tried to run a couple more. Like, it was just not aggressive. It was lazy. I get, hey, that was a bad half. Let's get back in there. Let's go. But it really wasn't all horrible. I just think that the New Orleans Saints need to stop with the penalties, and you won't have to worry about bad clock management, at least from a standpoint of trying to climb back. I will also say that I thought the offense was best when they were working in tempo. And for the young quarterback and Spencer Rattler, and for a young offense featuring Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, obviously Alvin Kamara is not young, but Kendre Miller, Devin Neal, they got some run. They're clearly going to be factors this year. This is a team that needs to find ways to maximize their offensive success. Working in tempo is the way to do that. I believe it. I'm sure you believe it. I know we can all go back and watch the highlights, watch the tape, watch the film, and we can all look back and say, when the offense was moving most effectively, they had rhythm, they had tempo, they were moving well. It was a fluid unit. But when they weren't, the offense was stagnant, and it stalled out, and it failed, and it got derailed by penalties. Can't be doing that. Alvin Kamara also agrees with everything I just said. So we have to be better at running a play, getting our tempo, getting set, and staying. That's another problem. They weren't getting set in time. They weren't getting set with enough time. They weren't getting set right. It was causing problems all throughout the game. I think that falls on all of us, especially the quarterback. I think it'll get fixed. I think this week we'll watch the film, and I know I'll be vocal about it. We just got to get set. Now, to kind of round out this conversation, it's a very, very easy fix. The question that we posed at the beginning of this video, how does this keep happening to the New Orleans Saints? Well, the answer, lazy football, lack of discipline, lack of preparation, not being set, not being prepared. You fix any of those things, and hopefully all of them, and some of those penalties are not a problem anymore. If the self-inflicted wounds can't stop for the New Orleans Saints, then this team will be very, very hard to watch all year. But if the black and gold can find ways to break these bad habits of getting stupid penalties at especially inopportune times, I think that this team could potentially start cooking and maybe find a way to actually shock the NFL and rattle off some pretty impressive wins. Just my thoughts, just my opinion. That's why you tune into the show. Now, what is the biggest issue for the New Orleans Saints? I want you to let me know in the comment section. What do you think is the biggest problem facing this team right here, right now? Is it lack of talent on the roster? Is it bad coaching? Is it no quarterback play? Is it penalties? What is it? I think it's penalties, and that's my personal opinion. But I spent the last few minutes telling you what I think. I want you to spend the next few minutes telling me what you think. Appreciate you guys for tuning into today's video. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Got to give a shout out to my guy Loco Lopez for hanging out and being on the ones and twos for me. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. All right. If you got a question or a hot take, let me know. Get in the comment section. I wish there was not a wall here so we could throw the football at the wall and play catch with it. Play wall ball. Pretty fun. Have you seen I wish that we had a wall right here that I could throw the football back and it would.
Oh, I thought you were saying I wish there was no wall
No,
here.
I
so
wish
we
there
could play
was.
wall ball.
I wish there was not a wall. I can see where that was confusing. In my head, I was like, I wish there was something there that was not a wall that could like bounce back. Like back in the day.
Not a wall that could act as a wall.
Well, back in the day when I played lacrosse, we had these little bounce back nets or whatever. It was like a trampoline that literally you just
Like a
face
little
like
spike
that.
ball net.
Yeah, but it's like an actual trampoline. Like,
But it's the same
material.
thing. Like you throw it at the trampoline
And it bounces back at you. Yeah, exactly. And so you could literally, it's just upright like that. So you could go out there and just toss the ball to yourself all day. It was electric. And I would love to be able to do that in the studio. I also remember when I was a kid, there was these footballs that were like flat on the back end. So you could do that. So you could play wall ball with them.
They're called fatherless footballs. That's what I've heard them reference as.
Is that real?
I swear, look it up. Look up fatherless footballs.
That can't be real.
Maybe that's not what they're actually called, but that's what I've heard them reference as.
That can't be real. That can't be real.
I just looked it up.
Oh my God. It's on Amazon. That's crazy. Never knew that. Well, there you have it. There you go.
Fatherless footballs.
I see a question asking, can/has Jonas Sinker played free safety or strong safety? To be totally honest, I think that the free safety versus strong safety thing is kind of like phasing out. I think it's because they're playing all over the field at this point. But in week 1, he played 1 snap at free safety. In college, in 2024, let's see. He played 573 snaps at free safety, 735 in the slot, 961 in this box. So he can do both.
Who are we talking about?
Jonas Sinker.
Okay.
Yeah, can he play free safety or strong safety? He can do both because he has done both. A lot of both, actually. So, yeah, he's actually the perfect fit. Update on Olave, he should be fine. That's what Kellen Moore said today again, to media. Excuse me. He said he should be fine. Huh?
He vibing.
He vibing. He be vibing. That's what he be doing. All righty. Foster, it's a great question. We're going to answer some of these great questions right here, right now. Lopez.
Wait, we got questions. We asked for questions. They delivered.
They delivered.
We got
It's good to hear. Good to hear. Let's just make sure that spawn or that Chubbies read is first half. Whether we need to move, whether it goes before or after the social or after the Jawan Johnson stuff, where we have those photos. I don't care, but just let me know. You just go wherever. Yeah. Alrighty. Let's talk about it. Let's get some questions. Y'all have questions. I have answers. Let's see here. Lopez's burner is asking, when do we get to play the Falcons? Week 12. Can't wait. Alrighty. You're watching Saints Now. Can you do me a favor and change the yellow up here to welcome to the show or something? Or I don't care, just something that's not that. Perfect. JA says Rattler better than Bryce Young. Facts. If you're having a good time, type me in the chat. Make sure if you have any questions, hot takes, comments, concerns, trade ideas, free agency stuff, anything like that, use hashtag Saints and we'll make sure we get you featured. Mikey wants to know, when are we giving out more gold jerseys? Well, we won't be giving out another jersey anytime soon because we have to hit some goals that we did not get to hit on the watch party in order to give away jerseys. but we will be giving away potentially a hat next week. So be on the lookout. We all know that hat that not this one, but it's a hat that kind of looks like this. Has like the S with the logo in there. May have found an extra one to give away for you guys. So be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. All righty. Let's get after it. Mailbag coming up. Saints scream, fire Mike Gundy. No. I mean, my little brother goes to Oklahoma State. I kind of love that their football team is shitty. It's hilarious. All right, let's dive on in. Lopez, whenever you are ready. You're good. By the way, Lopez will be answering some of these questions too. Yeah, well, good. Yep. Welcome on in to Saints Now by Chat Sports. For today's show, we're going to be getting reactions from Saints fans after the Week 1 loss. We've had some time to let it marinate. We've had some time to let it sit, get over the pain, and now we're going to have an honest conversation about how we feel and talk about some questions, take some questions, respond to some hot takes, and, do all of that good stuff. Program announcement, though. We have moved our weekly live shows from Wednesday to now 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday. So be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. We do these weekly Q&As as a part of our live show. So if you want to be seen in front of thousands of Saints fans, I highly encourage you to subscribe to the channel, tune in, and turn on your notifications because we are on the road to 50K, and we got awesome content coming your way every single day. Cooper, first question goes to you, my friend. Do you think with George Kittle being hurt, Saints have a higher chance of winning on Sunday? The answer is yes. Trey McBride, tight end for the Arizona Cardinals, absolutely dusted you. And I think that the tight end position is one that the Saints have had a tough time defending in the past, and George Kittle is one of the best in the league to play the position. So him being out is good news for the Saints. We don't celebrate injuries on the channel, but I do have to say, and I will acknowledge the obvious, that him being out is a big factor for the 49ers offense. Lopez, I want you to sound off and answer this question as well. Do you think George Kittle being hurt helps the Saints?
I definitely think anytime George Kittle isn't on the field, it's going to hurt the 49ers. So whoever their opponent is definitely going to benefit from that. Yep. But I really think the game will be won for the Saints if you can stop that San Francisco pass rush.
Totally.
You can't let Nick Bosa have a day. I think George Kittle can do so much, but Nick Bosa can wreck your day for you.
Yeah, well, and the fact that you don't have George Kittle, one of the top offensive weapons in the league, available means you're going to need to find other weapons to fill that void, or you're not going to be able to drive down the field that very far, thus leaving kicks to Jake Moody, who is terrible, and that is a key to success. Make Jake Moody kick the football to kick field goals, and you'll be fine. So George Kittle being hurt definitely helps the New Orleans Saints and increases their odds, in my personal opinion. Eric, is Taysom Hill about to retire? No, I don't think he's about to retire. In case you guys didn't know, the New Orleans Saints recently restructured his contract, lowered his 2025 cap number from $17.98 million to $14.2 million. Still voids the last day of the league year. Up to $6 million will be available in per-game roster bonuses. A little bit more from Nick Underhill. I had this pulled up. This is bad. I need to make sure I have this written down. But it saves, I believe, about $3.6 million. Yeah, Taysom Hill's contract creates about $3.6 million in cap savings. So the Saints could potentially look to make a roster move. I don't think this means that he's retiring anytime soon. I think this more so is just the Saints trying to deal with the money side of everything. Nick Underhill even saying basically it just sets up so about $6 million of his previous base salary will now be earned through roster bonuses. So it's not a retirement thing, according to Nick Underhill. Courtney, good to see you. Queen Courtney, type the crown emojis in the chat. Y'all know what to do. Why was our offense as flat as it always has been? We have weapons and coaches. Well, interesting stat. Spencer Rattler was tied for number 1 in the National Football League in Week 1 for quick pressures. What is a quick pressure, Trizzy? Well, that's a great question, Trizzy. That is a pressure occurring in 2.5 seconds or less. Drake May and Spencer Rattler led the league at 13. So the Saints offense never really gave Spencer Rattler a chance. he didn't get to stretch the field all that much. His yards per attempt were less than 5 or 6 yards, he has 4.8 yards per attempt. So not only did he not have time to air it out, he also, when he did have the opportunity to, it didn't necessarily go well. There's a couple of those deep balls that I know we would like to have back and we would like to see connect. Had he connected, especially on that Rashid Shaheed pass early in the game that was picked off and then waived because of the penalty, I think that one, if that one lands, then we're talking about his day much, much differently. Lopez, what do you think about this?
I think one of the biggest things was they played best in tempo.
Yes.
And with tempo, you're being a little bit more aggressive, and that was just one of the big takeaways from week 1. I don't think Kellen Moore let the offense be aggressive enough. I think there was times they could have capitalized a little bit more. Mm-hmm. I know, like you were saying, they had the quick pressure, so you can't take the shot, but even just getting to the line quick, snapping the ball quick, try and catch the Cardinals off guard just didn't seem like they were looking to do that much.
No. I totally agree with you. They looked best in tempo. It felt like Kellen Moore could have had a little bit more confidence in his roster and in that offense, but that's what the next few weeks are for. It's week 1. There's going to be growing pains regardless, no matter what. So in my personal opinion, I think that the New Orleans Saints need to find ways to be more confident, thus giving them the opportunity to potentially stretch the field and take some of those deep shots in which we love seeing Rashid Shaheed score touchdowns on. Now, we're going to answer some more questions here in just a moment, but really quickly, got to take a moment to thank today's presenting sponsor, and that is Chubbies Shorts. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the most wonderful time of the year. It's fall. The weather's nice. The leaves are turning. Football's on, and your girl just threw some banana bread in the oven. I'm telling you, life is absolutely great. But just because the weather is changing over doesn't mean you have to pack away the fun. Chubbies is here to make sure your fall wardrobe hits harder than a pumpkin spice latte on a slow Sunday morning with soft, stretchy, fall-ready staples built for maximum comfort and minimal effort. The Chubbies Fall Collection just dropped, I should say, and it's packed with cozy gear that brings the heat literally and metaphorically. And later this month, they're launching the new Comfort Collection featuring the Everywhere Jogger. It's the perfect pant for impromptu naps, weekend errands, and everything in between. We all agree that fall should be cozy and not constricting. Chubbies is here to deliver peak softness without sacrificing an ounce of style. So go ahead, break up with stiff pants, and embrace the fun side of fall. Whether you're layering up for tailgates, lounging through lazy Sundays, or just leaning fully into fall comfort, Chubbies has you covered. For limited time, they're giving listeners to Saints Now by Chat Sports $10 off your order with the code CHATSPORTS at chubbyshorts.com. That's CHATSPORTS. That's the promo code you use, ChatSports at chubbyshorts.com to support the show and take advantage of that $10 off your order. Support us at Saints Now by Chat Sports and show your thighs some respect with Chubbies. All that information has been available in the comments and description of this video. Pup Shuck Murphy, what's going on, Murph? Should Tyler Shuck start week 2? I can understand why you would want your dad to start. Tyler Shuck is pretty exciting. That being said, my answer is going to be no. I do not think that Tyler Shuck should start week 2. I think that it would be silly to start Tyler Shuck week 2. I think that they would be doing wrong by Rattler and Tyler Shuck by making him the starter week 2. And I think it just would be organizational malpractice. What do you think?
My prediction coming into the year was the earliest that we see Tyler Shuck, if he didn't win the QB1 battle, was going to be around week 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I don't even think we're on that path right now because after week 1, Rattler wasn't the worst player on the field.
No.
He was not the reason that we lost yesterday.
No, I could not agree with you more. And we can look at the numbers. Fortunately, we actually have some stats on that. Shout out to one of our videos earlier today. We have actually some numbers we can take a look at. In week 1, 27 to 46, 214 yards, a passer rating of 70.4, 4.7 yards per attempt. That's not what is considered ideal, but you got to push the ball downfield more often. You got to be able to be more confident, like we just talked about, in your receivers and in your weapons, because quite honestly, Spencer Rattler, although he wasn't the reason you lost, he also wasn't much of a factor in helping you win. Alvin Kamara was the guy who scored the lone touchdown. And on top of that, you were unable to keep drives alive, unable to get the offense set. So in my personal opinion, Spencer Rattler, he's kind of just proving to be a backup, in my opinion. I would love to be proved wrong. However, considering it wasn't much better than what we've seen previously, my personal opinion, I think it's worth keeping him in, getting a fair judgment, seeing what happens here. But, I agree with Lopez. I think the earliest we would even see Tyler Shuck is like week 6, to be totally honest. Ethan, let me answer your question. After watching week 1, would you change your expectations for the Saints, or will they stay the same? My expectations are going to stay the same because my expectations are what I've said multiple times at this point. To be totally honest, as a Saints fan and as somebody who pays a lot of attention to this team, reads every article, watches every piece of film, studies every game, is locked in every single week, I can tell you that my expectations are that the New Orleans Saints are not going to win a lot of games, but they will be a very exciting and fun team. And I think week 1 proved that. I think that this is a team that could potentially be really exciting. I think they're very reminiscent of the Dan Campbell-led Lions in his first year. Not a lot of success. 3 wins that year. Hell, they had a tie. I think a tie would be awesome for team morale. We had one in the preseason. That'd be lit. But I will also say, I don't think that I'm any more confident or any less confident in this season. I think this is just going to be one of those, this is not going to be pretty. We're going to have another high draft pick, but am I engaged? Am I entertained? And do I leave game days fuming like I did last year? If the answers are yes, yes, and no, then I think life is good. Car crash. That's pretty funny. Cut Jawan Johnson. Okay, that's a little aggressive. Cut Jawan Johnson right now. No, I don't think I will. First of all, if you cut Jawan Johnson, that would be stupid financially, and it would be stupid in terms of roster management. Jawan Johnson, in case you did not know, was the week 1 receiving leader for the New Orleans Saints. 8 catches on 11 targets, 76 yards, had a long of 21. Obviously, the play of the game that everyone's talking about is the drop that he had in the end zone at the very, very end to potentially tie the ball game. It was a perfect throw by Spencer Rattler, for what it's worth. And I can understand where there's frustration considering the Saints paid him a 3-year, $30.75 million contract to make catches like that. But I will also add that the Cardinals paid Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker money to make the plays that they did. Like, I don't think that this is necessarily an egregious drop by Jawan Johnson. More so, I think it's an excellent play by Jalen Thompson and Budda Baker. They were in the right place at the right time. Incredible effort. It was well-timed in terms of when they struck, when they made their plays, when they jumped for the ball. They just made a hell of a play. And sometimes it doesn't go your way. It's called a 50-50 ball for a reason. Jawan Johnson, for what it's worth, had the ball. He had it up here. He had it going down. Everyone was ready. You saw people celebrating on the field because as soon as he was coming down, you said that's a catch because he went through the hard part. But you still got to hit the ground. You got to maintain possession. And especially with all the new changes with the rules of how what is a catch and what isn't, got to have firm possession there. They just made a hell of a play. Got to give a lot of credit to Jalen Thompson, Budda Baker. Baker is one of the best in the league at the safety position. Really can't knock them for making a great play. Of course, you would like to see Jawan Johnson make that catch, but I'm with Rattler. I think 100 out of 100 times that play should go to Jawan Johnson. J.A., who do you think, or what do you think is our biggest? Let's try that again. J.A., what do you think our biggest weakness is? I'm going to be honest. In my personal opinion, I think the biggest weakness is the discipline for the New Orleans Saints. I wouldn't say it has anything to do with the roster because I do think that this is a quality roster that's very underrated and very overhated. However, it's not good enough to get 13 penalties, 89 yards in penalty yardage, and climb yourself out of that. It's just not good enough to do that. So the biggest issue, in my opinion, and the biggest weakness is the lack of discipline. And I guess their biggest strength is the ability to get penalties at extremely inopportune times in games. So I think if they fix the penalty issue, I think that would be really, really great. We actually even addressed this in a video we recently published on the channel, so go check it out. It's linked in the comments and in the description. You can see it on the channel as well, so I hope you guys go check it out. Penalties, major, major problem for the New Orleans Saints. One of the most penalized teams in the National Football League in Week 1. Hopeless Houdat, when will we get our first win? All right, let me pull up the schedule here. So, obviously, I think Week 1, Lopez, was one of those games that was extremely winnable. And for the sake of the first 4 weeks, I think that was the most winnable game. Maybe that's a take that ages poorly as the season goes on, because I actually think that the Cardinals are going to be a sneaky good team this year. So, Week 2, you have the Niners. I think that's a winnable game. So, in terms of when will we get our first win, maybe next week. That could happen. I think that's a winnable matchup. Seahawks, what do you think about that one? Is that a winnable game?
I honestly think 49ers and Seahawks, both winnable games. The one that I have circled on my schedule as this the latest we get our first win is Week 5. I think we are a better football team than the New York Giants.
I agree. And that one's at home. Yeah. I think that's a team that you should have no problem beating, quite frankly. Shout out Marshall Green. Giants fucking suck.
I could actually see us going a little 2-game winning streak between Week 5 and 6. The Patriots didn't look great either.
No, they didn't look good either. I'll keep it real with you. We obviously haven't gotten to see the Bears play because this video is being filmed on Monday. Monday Night Football hasn't played yet, Bears versus Vikings, but we'll see how they look. Dennis Allen's led defense, Ben Johnson Bears, Caleb Williams. We'll see what goes on there. But Week 8, you have the Buccaneers. NFC South games are always winnable. I will always vouch in that regard. But I think that's a game that might be kind of tough to win. Week 10, you travel to the Panthers. Week 11, you have your bye. Week 12, the Falcons. That's a winnable game as well. I don't think you're going to beat the Bills. They had a crazy, crazy comeback in Sunday Night Football. So, yeah, I think that's your first win, your best options. Week 2, Week 5, Week 6, and then I will say Week 10 are your next few opportunities to get your first win. And then, of course, Week 12 against the Falcons. Now, I earlier was answering a question about who should start for Week 2. So I want you guys to kind of weigh in on that conversation. In case you didn't get the chance to share your thoughts on it, who do you think should be the starting quarterback Week 2? Rattler, Shuck? I think it needs to be Rattler. If you think Tyler Shuck should start, type start. If you think he should sit, type sit. Get in the comment section, be the head coach, and sound off for me. Appreciate you guys for tuning in to today's live Q&A. My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and y'all stay golden. We'll see you next time. Boom. Great, great stuff.
That's how you do it live.
A bunch of people are saying sit. I agree. Sit Tyler Shuck.
Nothing against Shuck, but Rattler didn't have a bad game.
No, Rattler wasn't bad enough for me to start calling for his job. Rattler, and I am somebody who is not afraid to call for somebody's job. By the way, roster news: Saints waived Fadil Diggs.
Really?
I'm sure that's one of the. I'm sure it's one of those wave, come back, wave, come back, wave, come back.
Oh, he's gonna be the next Hunter Deckers.
Yeah. Or the fact that they waived Fadil Diggs and they cleared up some roster money, some cap space.
They signed Jabril Peppers.
I wonder if a move is coming. They trade for somebody? Trade away a first-round pick for Joe Burrow?
First-round pick and Blake Grupe.
Yeah, I would assume he comes back on waivers. Saints currently have $24 million in cap space. Is that true? Saints cap space, according to Over the Cap, 12.36. And according to Spotrac, 10.9. So, somebody's wrong. You know, I'm really, really upset that that Julian Blackmon got hurt. Indy says if we're rebuilding, we need to trade Davis and Jordan while they still have value. I do think that there is the conversation of we're rebuilding, so trade away assets. But I also think that there's a conversation about the importance of building culture early on in your tenure. And there are no two people better to build the culture of the New Orleans Saints than Demario Davis and Cam Jordan. Obviously, Tyrann Mathieu would be a conversation too, but he retired. So I don't think trading away. And honestly, you're not going to get good value back. Like what you get? What's the best you could get for Cam Jordan? 6th-round pick? 5th-round pick?
Thinking like day
like
3.
Cam Jordan's special to us.
Like early day 3, late day 2 pick.
Yes, Cam Jordan's very, very special to us. He is not very special to the rest of the National Football League.
Unless he plays like he did.
Yeah, they see the numbers that he's put up the last few years and been like, yeah, no, thank you. They don't know the full story. On top of that, Demario Davis, I think you could maybe get something in return for him, but like, I feel like a lot of teams who are in the market of let's just go get that. We need that one more piece. We need that one more linebacker. Like a team that would do that are typically the teams that are trying to compete in the playoffs. I feel like a lot of these playoff teams and a lot of these good defenses have their linebackers kind of set.
Yeah.
Like I don't feel like there's a lot of linebacker movement necessarily needed right now. Rooster says Stutzman is pushing Werner. That is not true. Danny Stutzman, I don't even think he logged a single snap on defense. He only played special teams. So, yeah, maybe in a few years, but like right now, Pete Werner is solidly the starter. This is coming from the biggest Danny Stutzman fan. I literally shaved my beard for the first time in 2 years because of Danny Stutzman. I do think at some point he will be a starter alongside Pete Werner, but he is not pushing him for his job. That's simply not true. Werner playing like he's looking behind him. I don't even know what that means. All righty. Well, we got through our 3 segments. We got here at 8 a.m. this morning, and we're going to push out some injury news and then go home. How's that sound? My name is Trizzy Trace Girouard. That right there is Loco Lopez. This has been Saints Now by Chat Sports Live. We are going live. Friendly reminder, every Monday and every Thursday, 3 p.m. Central Time for the foreseeable future. No more Wednesday live shows. Monday and Thursday, and of course, our weekly game day live shows. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Y'all stay golden. See you next time.